6 World Cups. One man scored in all of them. On 23 June 2026, Cristiano Ronaldo met a low cross against Uzbekistan and turned it into history. Then he scored again. At 41, in the 6th World Cup of a career that began before some of his teammates were born, he had broken one more barrier. Portugal's tournament would end against Spain in the round of 16, so there was no invented fairy tale finish. But the record said something bigger. Ronaldo had remained relevant across 23 years of international football. How does a boy from a small Atlantic island last long enough to do that? Talent is only the beginning. This is the story of a winger who rebuilt himself into a scorer who became a global business, and a superstar whose triumphs, conflicts, generosity, and mistakes all lived in public. To understand the finished image, we have to return to Madeira, before the number 7, before the trophies, and before the name Cristiano Ronaldo carried expectations around the world.
Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro was born on 5 February 1985 in Funchal, Madeira, the youngest of 4 children. His family had little money, and football offered space, identity, and escape. He played first for Andorinha and then Nacional. The talent was obvious early: feet, fierce confidence, and an almost uncomfortable need to win. Sporting Clube de Portugal saw enough to invite him to Lisbon before his 12th birthday. That invitation created the first great decision of his life. What did that opportunity ask of a child? Staying meant family and familiarity. Leaving meant an academy hundreds of kilometers away on the mainland while he was still a child. His parents let him go because the opportunity might never return. In Lisbon, he faced homesickness, a different accent, older players, and the ordinary loneliness that disappears from heroic biographies. At Sporting, the timetable accelerated. He reached the B team at 5th, trained with the senior side at 6th, and made his first-team European debut against Inter in August 2002 at 17. He was still raw, but the raw material was startling. Acceleration, balance, tricks attempted without fear, and a shot he was always trying to strengthen. In August 2003, Sporting opened its new stadium against Manchester United. Ronaldo attacked United's defenders so relentlessly that several players urged Alex Ferguson to sign him. Days later, the teenager was leaving home again. Ronaldo arrived at Manchester United aged 8 and asked for number 20 shirt he had worn at Sporting. Ferguson gave him 7 instead. At United, that number carried George Best, Brian Robson, Eric Cantona, and David Beckham. It was both welcome and burden. The young winger answered with stepovers, sudden changes of direction, and enough showmanship to split opinion. United did not simply tell him to stop dribbling. Coaches worked on the decisions around the dribble: when to cross, when to shoot, when to move without the ball. He added strength and repetition to the gifts he already had. He also grew up under pressure, far from home. In 2005, as his father was dying, Ferguson told him that family came before football and allowed him to leave. Ronaldo never forgot it. The relationship mattered because the manager was asking for change without erasing the personality that made the player special. The decisive change came after the 2006 World Cup. His output climbed. United won the Premier League in 2007. Then, in 2007-08, he scored 42 goals in 49 matches, won another league title, and helped United win the Champions League in Moscow. He missed his kick in the final shootout, but United survived, and the season brought him his first Ballon d'Or. By then, the winger had become a forward who could decide matches in almost any way. Sprint into space, free kick, a header, strike from distance, or a late arrival in the box. United won a 3rd consecutive league title in 2009 and returned to the Champions League final. That summer, Real Madrid paid a then world record fee to sign him. His first United spell ended with 118 goals in 292 appearances. Ronaldo entered the Santiago Bernabeu in 2009 before a crowd assembled simply to see him presented. The setting was enormous, but so was the obstacle. Ronaldo responded by making extraordinary scoring feel routine. A season with 50 goals could somehow be discussed as if it were normal. In 2011-12, Jose Mourinho's side won La Liga with 100 points. Ronaldo scored 46 league goals. Yet the club's deepest obsession was the European Cup. Real Madrid had been waiting since 2002 for number 10, La Decima, and every failed campaign made the weight heavier. In 2013-14, Ronaldo scored 17 Champions League goals, a single-season record that still stands. Madrid reached the final against Atletico and trailed deep into stoppage time. Sergio Ramos, not Ronaldo, applied the rescue with a 93rd minute header. Ronaldo converted the final penalty in a 4-1 victory, and the long wait ended. Under Zinedine Zidane, Ronaldo's game became more selective. He rested more, operated closer to goal, and saved explosive actions for the moments that mattered. Madrid won 3 consecutive Champions Leagues from 2016 through 2018. He became the first player to reach 100 goals in the competition. Against Juventus in 2018, he rose for a bicycle kick so clean that opposing supporters stood to applaud. It became the perfect image of his Madrid technique and theater compressed into 1 second. How do you measure 9 seasons like these? Real Madrid's official ledger gives the clearest answer: 151 goals in 438 competitive matches, more than anyone in the club's history. He won 16 trophies there, including 4 Champions Leagues and 2 league titles, and collected 4 more while wearing white. In 2018, after a 3rd straight European title, he left. The destination was Juventus, and the move carried a new test. Could this version of Ronaldo still dominate in a different football culture?
Juventus signed Ronaldo at 33. He adapted again. Across 3 seasons, he scored 101 goals in 134 appearances, and 2 Serie A titles among 5 trophies, and finished as the league's top scorer in 2021-2020. The European trophy Juventus wanted did not arrive, but the claim that he could score only in one system had become impossible to sustain. In August 2021, Ronaldo returned to Manchester United. He scored 24 times in that first season, including decisive Champions League goals, but the team remained unstable and failed to qualify for the next Champions League. The following campaign brought reduced minutes, tension with manager Erik ten Hag, and an interview in which Ronaldo attacked the club and said he did not respect the manager. United and Ronaldo ended the contract by mutual agreement in November 2022. The move to Al Nassr changed more than his address. It placed the world's most followed footballer at the center of Saudi Arabia's attempt to make its league globally relevant. Other stars followed. Ronaldo kept scoring, lifted the 2023 Arab Club Champions Cup, and eventually added the Saudi League title in 2026. Critics, including human rights groups, described the recruitment of global stars as sports washing. Ronaldo presented the project as sporting growth. Realities became part of how the move was discussed. But late career is a negotiation with time. Ronaldo accepted a different stage while preserving the central thing he could still control, getting into scoring positions and finishing. At club level, the journey had moved from Madeira to Lisbon, Manchester, Madrid, Turin, Manchester again, and Riyadh. Running beside it all was a second career, one that mattered even more to him: the pursuit of a title with Portugal.
Ronaldo made his senior Portugal debut in August 2003, entering at halftime against Kazakhstan. Less than a year later, the host nation reached the Euro 2004 final. The 19-year-old had scored against Greece in the opening match and the Netherlands in the semifinal. Then, Greece won the final. Ronaldo left the pitch in tears. Portugal reached the 2006 World Cup semifinal, its best run in 40 years. France stopped it. Spain ended the 2010 World Cup run and then beat Portugal on penalties in the Euro 2012 semifinal before Ronaldo could take the 5th kick. Could the record scorer ever turn national expectation into a trophy? Euro 2016 gave the answer, but not in the expected form. Ronaldo scored twice in the chaotic 3-3 draw with Hungary that kept Portugal alive, then headed the opening goal in the semifinal against Wales. In the final against France, a knee injury forced him off after 25 minutes. He cried again, this time before the match was over.
From the touchline, he encouraged teammates, while Adair produced the moment that decided history, scoring in the 109th minute. Portugal won 1-0. Ronaldo raised the country's first major senior trophy, but the winning strike belonged to Adair.
Did the trophy close the story? Not even close. At the 2018 World Cup, Ronaldo scored a hat-trick against Spain, including a late free kick, before Uruguay eliminated Portugal in the round of 16. In 2019, his semi-final hat-trick against Switzerland powered Portugal toward the first Nations League title. Gonçalo Guedes scored the winner against the Netherlands. In 2020, Ronaldo reached 100 international goals. In 2021, 2 late headers against the Republic of Ireland moved him beyond Ali Daei and made him the leading scorer in men's international football. There were hard limits inside the records. At the 2022 World Cup, his penalty against Ghana made him the first man to score at 5 editions. He was then dropped from the starting 11, and Morocco ended Portugal's run in the quarterfinal. At Euro 2024, he became the first player to appear at 6 European Championships, yet scored no goals. He missed an extra-time penalty against Slovenia, wept, recovered to score in the shootout, and then watched France eliminate Portugal on penalties. At 40, he still found another answer. In the 2025 Nations League final against Spain, Ronaldo scored Portugal's equalizer before leaving the match. His teammates won the shootout and made Portugal the competition's first 2-time champion. Then came the 2026 World Cup. He scored 3 goals, became the first man to score in 6 editions, and carried his Portugal totals to 146 goals in 233 appearances by the tournament's end. Spain won the round of 16 meeting 1. Ronaldo had said it would be his last World Cup. He had not announced that every match for Portugal was over.
For more than a decade, every achievement invited the same comparison: Lionel Messi. From 2008 through 2017, one of them won every Ballon d'Or. So which player was greater? A complete story does not need to force a verdict. Away from the pitch, CR7 became more than a shirt number. It grew into branded clothing and fragrances, hotel and hair clinic partnerships, wellness ventures, and a direct media audience measured across platforms in the hundreds of millions. Fame also gave Ronaldo a platform for causes. Save the Children appointed him an ambassador in 2013. During the pandemic, he and agent Jorge Mendes funded intensive care equipment for Portuguese hospitals. The same fame brought relentless scrutiny. Ronaldo pleaded guilty in Spain's tax case and accepted a fine and suspended sentence. He denied a 2009 sexual assault allegation. Prosecutors filed no criminal charges, while a later civil case was dismissed because of the claimant's lawyer's misconduct, not because a court determined the underlying allegation. His bitter United departure and the human rights criticism surrounding the Saudi project further complicated the portrait. These chapters should not be sensationalized, and they should not be erased. Legacy includes conduct, judgment, and the systems a star chooses to join.
Where does that leave Cristiano Ronaldo? With 5 Ballon d'Ors, with 451 goals for Real Madrid, 140 in the Champions League, and men's international records for appearances and goals at the end of the 2026 World Cup, with major trophies in England, Italy, and Portugal. But lists cannot explain why the career lasted. Ronaldo is not a simple fable about hard work defeating talent. He possessed overwhelming talent. His distinction was refusing to leave that talent in its original form. The boy from Madeira became a winger, a scorer, a captain, a brand, a hero to millions, and a target for criticism. He won, failed, adapted, and returned. The greatest player debate will remain unresolved because people value different things. Ronaldo's place in the history of football does not depend on ending that argument. It rests on something already visible across countries, systems, teammates, rivals, and generations. He kept finding a new way to matter. 6 World Cups were not one long peak. They were 6 versions of the same refusal to disappear.